Welcome to this week's Foundation Friday, sponsored by Great American Insurance. I am joined today by Willis Kleinjan, CEO of Northland Capital, to talk about the St. Teresa Orphan Foundation. Thanks for joining me again, Willis.
Hey, thanks, Jesse.
I forgot the individual's name. I've known that Northland's done this for a while. You had someone represent your company at our EFC event in Minnesota. For some reason, his name's skipping me. And
Yeah, I think Jeff Way
there you go.
was
Yep.
there and attended and talked about St. Teresa's.
And I've known about it just because I've known you for a while. But for those people who might not be familiar with St. Teresa and what Northland's doing, do you mind just kind of giving a little background of the foundation?
Sure. St. Teresa's Orphan Foundation is headquartered in Songea, Tanzania. And Jody and I, my wife and I, became involved 7-8 years ago when Teresa basically moved to the United States. She ended up marrying a gentleman from our church who had went to this orphanage for about 4 different years and then ends up marrying her and brings her back here. Okay. So Teresa goes back and forth. Actually, he's in Tanzania right now, but we began helping her and supporting her, and she started this organization probably the year 2000. Basically started taking in some of the infants that were abandoned or left orphans because their parents died. And Teresa tells a story of kind of walking down the streets of Songea with friends, and she'd hear these babies crying, and she would say to her friends, "Do you hear that?" And they were like, "Well, no, what do you hear?" They said, "Well, I hear all these babies crying." And that was kind of her, I think, part of her God story, where God was leading her down this path to care for these infants that basically were dying because they were either abandoned or orphaned. A lot of it in the early 2000s was because of AIDS. And AIDS, kind of was very rapid in Africa and killing lots of moms and leaving these babies with, parents and grandparents, and mostly grandparents because the parents were dying as well. So she began saying, well, I don't have any money. I really can't do much, but, I can take care of, 1 or 2. And so she brought them into her mother's house initially and started caring for them. And of course, 1 turned to 2 and 2 to 6. And so she was kind of outgrowing the space that she had there at her mom's place. And so, God continued to provide opportunities for her to minister these kids, care for these kids. And, a lot of it is, even though she may not bring all these kids into her home, she was providing kind of a place where they could come for 1 meal a day. So a lot of these kids were not getting, were very malnourished. And so she was providing an opportunity, started cooking for some of the neighbor kids, or at least they could come and get 1 good, nutritious meal a day. And so she's, kind of cares for them, these vulnerable kids, gives them certainly food, medical care if they need it, shelter, and really brings them into her home or into the orphanage as needed. A lot of these kids are just abandoned by the streets. Certainly a couple of the kids that we help and support, an infant left in a cardboard box on the side of the street, and finally someone hears us crying and finds out there's a baby there and takes it to the police. And of course, the police can't care for them.
Right.
And Songea isn't, or even Africa is really not set up to handle probably the number of orphans there are. And so in a lot of cases now, the police will bring these infants to Teresa saying, can you care for them? And at times she has to turn them away. She's like, "I'm sorry, you can't. I don't have the money. I don't have the money to buy the food. I don't have the money to buy the formula that it's going to take to help these children, and which is very tragic because she knows chances are if she can't help them, they'll likely die. And so that's, where our kind of greatest mission is to see that we can do that, any opportunity that she has to take care of these kids that, we can help provide.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that level of granularity there. So that's scary.
Yeah, it's something that certainly we don't realize here.
No.
We focus more on our first world problems.
Well, right. It's
not
like typically
realizing-
like animals being dropped off at random locations. And the fact that that's actually happening with human beings is, like I said, it's just scary.
Yeah, and some of that, I think that in cases the mothers or the grandmothers, they're just desperate. They're like, I know I can't care for this child, and if I continue to try, it's probably going to die. So I'm hoping that someone else will take this child, take them in, and care for them.
So what does Northland do on a regular basis? I know you've gone out there a few times because I remember you're like, "Hey, I'm going to Tanzania," and I'm like, "For what?" And then some mission work and stuff. But
Yep.
what does Northland Capital do on I think an annual basis for St. Teresa?
Well, we I guess we host several fundraisers throughout the year that is supported by the employees of Northland Capital, and of course Northland is also a sponsor of supporting some of the children there. We're actually have two girls that Northland is currently supporting now, where we provide the annual support to provide the food and clothing and medical care and education that they're going to need. Certainly it kind of goes from infant to about 18 years. That is kind of what we're looking to do at this point. So it's just something that we can do on a small part that can makes life-changing difference in Africa.
And are you constantly brought up to date on their status or how they're doing, those two girls?
Yeah, so certainly Teresa gives us updates on how they're doing, and certainly pictures, and certainly as she travels there 2-3 times a year, she provides updates on how they're doing and care that they need. And so we also have, along with Northland supporting a couple of the girls there, we have several employees at Northland that are supporting children at the orphanage. And so not only will they provide the annual support, but they'll probably send a birthday card, letter, maybe some money, pictures of their family, send them their Christmas card, try to do something for Christmas, do something special for their birthday, and maybe a special birthday when they started offering support. And so that'll be another date and time that they want to celebrate being able to support these kids. And it's very meaningful to these children who are orphans that don't have mom or dad, or maybe any family that they're aware of, to have someone that is willing to basically step in and support them financially, not only for their financial needs, but certainly spiritual, and someone that cares about them and is interested in their welfare. And that means a tremendous amount to these kids, that someone does care for them.
That's awesome. And then I think, what do you guys do? Do you send a couple pods every year, or was that just last year?
Well, we've been probably for the last 5 years now, we send a container. So it's, 8 feet wide, 40 feet long, 9 feet high, and we pack it tight. And so we're sending over clothes, shoes, bikes, chairs, desks, pretty much a lot of things that, certainly aren't readily available there.
Yeah.
We try to provide support in, many areas of their lives. And
So I
so
guess
yeah,
for
we spend.
the people who are watching this here, if they have any equipment that might be of use, reach out to Willis.
Right, and we do, certainly, my wife has um, got some texts this morning of, somebody that was uh, going through their closets, as their kids age, and they've got all these clothes that they're looking to do something with, and, certainly, people in our local area are dropping those off, and we've put them in big boxes, gailers, 4x4x4, and fill them full and ship them over. And
Yeah, I've seen some of the photos of you guys packing those things, and I think you pretty much, like you said, you cover every square inch of that trailer.
yeah, we do. We pack it as tight as we can get. It certainly costs money for us to buy the container, and then certainly it is a major expense getting it there. And then once it's at the port, we have to truck it to the orphanage. So we don't want to be shipping any air. So Teresa makes sure that we pack her as tight as we can. And, everything we send, there's definitely a need for it. So we try to get as much in there. But we've been doing that, for the last 5-6 years. Send one container a year. This year, actually, we've got 3 of them loaded and ready to go. But with the struggles in the shipping industry, haven't been able to find a shipping company that's willing to pick them up. Kind of nothing's, at this point, there's kind of a shipping block going to Africa. So we'll wait. Hopefully this summer they'll be able to go. But,
It's
we were
unfortunate.
fortunate enough that be friends with a guy that owns the Holiday Inn in St. Cloud, and he was doing a renovation there, and so we basically took 30 rooms where we took the beds, dressers, end tables, lamps, mirrors, pictures, the faucet, the shower heads.
Yeah.
Basically took everything from those rooms and put it into containers, and they'll be put to good use once we can get it there.
Well, if anyone's watching this in equipment finance who might have some connections on how to get it there sooner, by all means, reach out to Willis.
That would be awesome.
And my final question I have for you, Willis, is, this goes out to the Monitor Equipment Finance Advisor on the YouTube channel that I have. When people watch this, what can people in equipment finance do to help support the St. Teresa Orphans Foundation?
Well, certainly the orphanage has many needs, and certainly prayer and support is one that these kids need all the love and support that they can give. Financial support is what's going to keep the orphanage going, and certainly as we're trying to figure out, it's Teresa's. It was her vision and her dream, and she started this organization, but it has to live beyond her lifetime. And so we're trying to figure out how we can create endowments that are going to keep this thing going. We also have an entrepreneur program there that we've started. So as these orphans are going through the orphanage, they come in as infants and they go to elementary school. Actually, Teresa's over there right now opening a new elementary school.
Okay.
And then we bring them into the high school, and then they go off to college from them. But once they get to about 18 years old, they're in Africa, and we're trying to find opportunities for them to earn a living, and there isn't work there. So we're sending equipment from tractors and farm equipment. So we got one gentleman that's a farmer, and then Zosimo is in construction. So we sent over a portable cement mixer so that he can use for mortar as he makes his own bricks and builds brick buildings over there. And we sent a meat grinder over. So as we raise hogs at the orphanage, that they can grind up the meat into sausage, and then they'll have their own butcher shop and sell meat. So we're trying to create opportunities for them to earn livings and hence support the orphanage. So, we're very excited about that program, and any help we can get and any ideas we can get for creating careers for these students, would be awesome. And so they need help, and certainly in milk and food and medical and education, and certainly just supporting the general fund, will help meet all the needs of the orphanage.
Excellent, Willis. Well, thank you again for joining me and sharing that story. For people who watch this, if you have any suggestions or would like to make donations, the information will be behind me after I move my big head, the end of this video here, or just reach out to Willis directly. But thank you again, Willis, for your time, sir.
All right. Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it.
Yep.